Hi! How are we all doing? That intro is still absolutely fucking amazing. Right, let's get letter loaded up. Bloop. Hopefully it shouldn't take too long to appear. There it is. Content warning. Yes, I know. It has sexual themes. Lovely. So yeah, where we left off last time, we literally just finished Isabella's story. We just got into Hannah's story, which, as far as I can remember, opens up with a scene in an apartment. Let's see where this goes. ... So that's the end of Isabella. Here's Hannah. It's far too easy to get them to pay attention, enraptured. They hang on to my every word and follow my every move. All of it would have been stifling had I not grown used to such stares. Most are respectful, some are hostile, if we're honest. And few are downright inappropriate, because you've got big boobs. After all, I am...
Hannah Wright!
Hi! There's a moment of agitation as a familiar but less than welcome face approaches me with a suggestive smirk on his face. Of course, I have to keep his benevolent smile and greet him as I greet any other good friends. After all, this man can turn heads, being famous in his own right.
Officer Lee! What a pleasant surprise. I didn't think you'd have the time to attend tonight's party.
Also, let's have a look at relationships. So obviously, Hannah doesn't matter. Zach, Marianne, and Rebecca are all equal. Doesn't think much of Isabella. Really doesn't think much of Ashton. And that is not a great relationship bar for someone who is considered her husband. Trouble in Paradise. He's more Luke's friend than mine, really. I'm quite sure I only visit his wife. Much like I am only friends with the Chief Inspector because of Luke. Luke is only friends with Rochelle because of me. Unlike how I treated Lee, however, Luke never hid his animosity for the Lee matriarch. It was an odd sort of friendship where we would have awkward double dates. I don't even recall his first name. Starts with an N, I think? I might be wrong. Aside from being Chief Inspector of Luxbourne Police, his wife, Rochelle Lee Nay Vance, owns a General Electronics company, fridges and freezers mostly.
Oh, I always have time for my favourite socialite couple. Might I say, you look positively ravishing tonight.
So, he's a creep.
I see the husband isn't with you.
He's definitely a creep. The way he eyes me up is enough to make my skin crawl. I just wish Luke is here. Was here to fend off the more unseemly of our peers. You know the ones. Men who are just a bit too friendly, staring too long at my assets, boobs, and getting just close just because my husband is not here. And to think they all have the gall to do this at my own party. In my own house, if I might add. But like any high society woman worth her salt, I know how to handle it with grace and dignity.
I suppose you are looking pleasant as well. Luke's Michelle isn't here?
A shame. I do hope he isn't causing you much trouble. That husband of yours can be a bit daft sometimes, acting like he's still some young bachelor.
There we go. I just realised I'd pushed a button that would unmute me in Discord, which is never a good thing.
The wife sends her regards and her apologies, but something came up with her doctor and she needed to attend to it. You know her, being pregnant and all.
We make small talk. Rather, I'm forced to do so, as he would not leave my side after finding his place there. Much to my... chagrin? Never heard of that word. I've been extricated from the few who flock in hopes of flattering, for I can tolerate them far better than Lee. He is a nice enough person, and I adore his wife, who is obviously the brains behind the two. There is something unsettling about him. I do not trust him as much as I want to. ... He regaled to me tales of the Luxbourne Police Department, a different affair to the usual gossip I'm privy to, and though I loathe to admit, it's interesting nonetheless. I expect the topic of business to die out quickly, and should be understandable enough due to the confidential nature of his work. But oh boy, I was wrong.
So, wearing civvies, I steal and drive off with one of the police mobiles, right? In the mirror, I see the new tank chasing on foot and screaming about theft. The look on his face was priceless when I parked it in the garage.
Oh my. You made him chase you all the way home for a prank. What did Rochelle have to say about that?
That you're a dick. Rochelle has a strange love-hate affair with Lee. He is a married man who did not grow up past his early 20s, judging by the way he acts. Surprisingly enough, they've been married for a good 20 years. A lifetime if you compare it to the marriage of 7 years I have with Luke. I, on the other hand, well, Luke is no Lee. I should be happy about that, I suppose. Although my darling did have his moments.
Hey, the wife pulled my ear and gave me a good talking to, though. Besides, we live in a flat a block away, so it wasn't much of a grand chase.
So what was the point?
Weren't you living in a house near the countryside?
Moved for work, you know. Or you probably don't.
No, I don't really care.
No, I don't.
That tone is definitely, no, I really don't give a shit.
But a flat in downtown? I suppose if that's what you like.
Oh, it's horrid. Hate that tiny place, no matter how convenient it can be for work. 55 square yards are not enough when you need to get away from the wife. I wouldn't mind a place away from the city. Even started looking at the ads. I spied an interesting lot, actually. Heard it was finally put up for sale. Or that something mansion, you know the one with all the ghost stories.
The oh my god mansion. I know what he's talking about. There are really only a few urban legends around here. It's...
The Ermagood Mansion?
Ermagood?
That's the one. Worthy of a king it is. I'd buy it myself, but Rochelle would only gripe if I brought it up to her. Not to mention all the expenses a place like that. It'll be a real fixer-upper. You also have to find someone willing to work there with how superstitious people can be.
If it becomes a problem, just hire someone to do an exorcism.
Actually, I do know of someone who could be up to the task.
Oh, really?
You remember the Ludgates party at their Christchurch summer residence?
Of course. It was an excellent soiree. Everything was so classy, too.
So posh.
Such good taste.
That you don't have parties, you have soirees.
Oh, that place was a pigsty until they hired out this interior designer and they turned it into a bloody palace. She worked for the Exodus for their apartment in Soho too, and they recommended her when we were looking up pieces for our beach house in Porto Colom. I think I have a business card right. No, I must have left it in my other jacket. Anyway, she's called, what's her name? Marianne, I believe, yes. But truly, if anyone were to get that place in McCullough, well, they'd be the envy and the talk of the town.
Well, if you put it that way, I might just snatch it up for myself.
Oh,
this
really?
place was starting to feel a bit small lately anyway.
Sure, a 3-story penthouse might not fit the definition of small for some people. Pretty big. Okay, maybe a lot of people. But it isn't big enough to have grand parties in. I'd probably say it's big enough. As it is, I only invited about 30 people to this one and it already feels cramped in here. Look at all that space! Granted, there's not 30 people in the background, but look at all that space! Certainly would be nice if I didn't have to ride an elevator up and down several floors before I can get anywhere as well. All Luke's words, not mine. Besides, I have been looking for a good anniversary gift. Luke might like this one. She's going to buy him a mansion for their anniversary. Oh, the rich. Where is he anyway? Luke is dressed to the nines as he usually is, and he looks ready for whatever the day will throw at him. His butler and valet wait at his side, just in case he isn't ready as he looks. Oh sure, that is normal. Well, so what is confusing me is the fact that he is on his way out of the penthouse, considering we won't have anywhere to go until much later.
Where are you going?
I am to attend the Triad Autumn Tasting. I do believe I informed you of this 2 weeks ago.
Yes. And might I remind you that I had stricken that off your schedule? Because 1, the doctor told you to stop consuming so much alcohol.
But you're a drunk as well.
And 2, I informed you a few days ago about the open house we are going to attend in its place. I've even found this marvelous interior designer, Mary Ann McCullough.
Look at that spelling there. Look at that spelling there. They have a habit of not pronouncing people's names correct. For instance, Isabella, they call Isabel.
It's a 3.5-hour drive to Cardiff. I don't have time for this. This is like that little party you threw all over again. You don't inform me of it, and you expect me to stay and be a gracious host when I have business elsewhere.
Elsewhere.
You know how I operate, Hana. Unless this was penciled in, I am sticking to my schedule.
If I may intrude, the madam is correct. Your physician did insist you moderate your drinking, unless you wish to incur acute pancreatitis. And you did have this open house penciled in last Wednesday morning.
They're from a fictional place called Luxbourne, which is in the UK. So.
Bollocks, I don't remember doing so.
Well, you did.
And he's German.
While very
clearly.
hungover, in fact.
You did. Moaned about me being too loud, but gave in after some pushing. Perhaps it was a bit too cruel and manipulative of me, but...
Whose side are you on?
Come on, Luke. You promised we'd do whatever I want this weekend.
Gordon Bennett, fine. I am
Gordon
giving this
Bennett.
house tour of yours a chance. But if it proves to be a waste of time, I am going to Cardiff, and you are going to take a cab home. Are we clear?
Hey. It's just a bit of husband and wife tit for tat, isn't it? All couples have their arguments. Not really like that. Once the honeymoon phase is over, as I seem to call it, reality sets in. Reality sets in that you and your partner might not always see eye to eye. Perhaps it's been the years. 7 of them is nothing to scoff at.
I just cannot bloody believe I agreed to this. I was really looking forward to the Triad tasting.
I bet you were. No, sometimes I think it's something a bit more than just simple disagreements, and I have to stop myself from wondering where we went wrong.
There's always the Triad Christmas tasting in Manchester next month, and that'll only be an hour-and-a-half drive.
We're an hour and a half away from Manchester. Have I been neglectful? Have I offended? Have I acted shamefully?
Yes, but Cardiff.
Certainly any problem can be discussed. As long as he doesn't turn me away.
Well, there goes my good mood. Are you happy now, Hana?
You're a bit of a dick, you know. Why must he treat me this way? Oh, you defend myself.
I am very happy, Luke. Because for once in a very long time, we are doing what I want.
Ooh, shots fired.
I'm ecstatic. Understood? And this would be perfect if you stop acting like a child who needs their nappy changed.
The relationship has changed. Oh, it's gone up. Me scolding him has made our relationship stronger.
We will be leaving after lunch for the Ermengarde mansion.
Ermengarde.
You are going to park your rear in the car and keep mum. And you are going to behave during the tour.
Needless to say, Luke looks a bit shocked at my little outburst. He opened and closed his mouth a few times, struggling to reply, before he crosses his arms to look, well, like a moping child.
Any more rules for this little excursion of yours, Your Highness?
Yeah.
No wine.
Nappy? It's what a baby wears. The lovely little things which stop them from shitting all over the house.
No wine.
Oh, no wine.
Unacceptable! I am already not allowed to the tasting, and you would deprive me of that simple pleasure?
Also known as a diaper.
If I see you take one sip today, I will put the stocks under lock and key. Do you understand me?
Don't forget the bottles he keeps in his dresser.
Whose side are you on?
How many times in one day can you ask that?
As many times as I need you, traitor.
Oh, Johans! Digging up dirt. Right to the mansion is quiet, with Luke having stared out the window the entire way, not paying attention to anything around him. Meanwhile, I'm conflicted. Don't know if I should apologise for changing his plans like that. But by the time we arrive at the mansion, I see his eyes light up in genuine interest. Apologising is the last thing on my mind. The whole affair with the Ermengarde mansion is certainly an interesting experience. The place has been renovated and restored by the owners to what they claim to be acceptable standards. The mansion itself looks like something befitting a fairy tale or a period piece. It is tastefully decorated, and with a little bit of love and attention, I'm sure it can be a place Luke and I can call home. And the number of other prospective buyers that have come from the powerful and wealthy of Luxbourne certainly did not disappoint, marking this estate as prime property. The Lees are amongst the group who went with the Rose Woman, and I saw a few other notable faces, though I did not really feel like mingling. Unfortunately for every one of them, the Wrights are interested in buying. What's been bugging my mind, however, is that Isabella. What's her problem? Still don't quite understand what is happening. One moment she's scrambling to give us the paperwork to finalise the sale, then she's panicking over some sort of prank letter or another.
Dear me, is Isabella alright?
It is apparent with the way that she shakes, and by the pallor of her skin, something has definitely shaken her up.
Isabella, do you need me to call that ambulance?
I'm worried, but it will be best if she is attended to by someone more familiar to her, like her partner. Even then, the girl refuses Rose's offer for a drink and looks around ready to make a run for it.
No, I'm just feeling a bit out of it. Excuse me, I'll be back. I just need to catch my breath.
So we've already seen this scene. She does so, just as I predicted, and her partner follows like a concerned mother. There is an awkward air among us as we are left in the wake of whatever that was. The others murmur and gossip with each other, speaking of the poor, daft girl, and telling a tale to whoever was not audience to the act in the first place. It doesn't take long for the woman, Rose, to return and pull us aside into the study for what I rightfully assume is damage control. Rose invites Marianne too, hoping to apologise to her as well. But the woman refuses, saying she is not one of her clients anyway. That leaves myself, Rose and Luke, the last all too eager to make himself comfortable in a study he is no doubt already claiming as his own.
I can't apologize enough about what just happened. Please forgive Isabella. She's been under a lot of pressure lately. She's young, and all those rumors about this being haunted just got to her head. And it must be this terrible heat too. Not a drop of rain for days now.
Are you sure it is wise to just let her go like that?
Probably not.
Where is the poor dear? She might get hurt.
She's more likely to hurt somebody else, given what just happened.
I told her to sit down and take a break. Already rang someone to pick her up too.
That might be
Ashton?
for the best, dear.
No, Becca.
But
She
please,
rings Becca.
we're here to talk about the mansion, yes?
Still a creepy face.
Why, I absolutely adore it. Don't you, Luke? Some of the rooms will certainly have to be repurposed. We want to change the appliances and have Marianne lead on the decor, but the whole thing is just lovely.
Still can't say a name right.
I guess. It's certainly a lot roomier than our penthouse.
Certainly a lot roomy. Is there a plan of this? Hold on. Seem to remember there actually being a set of plans somewhere in here. No. It's fucking huge. Oh, we've got Hannah's thing now. So she's 31 years old, 5'7". Occupation, heiress. Former financial manager. British. Religion, Anglican. Masters in business administration. Major in accounting. Likes that. Dogs, fashion, parties and dancing, the beach, children, iconic women, charity, math. Nobody, stop lying, nobody likes math. Nobody. Life of luxury. Nothing important in there.
Exactly! Lots of space for guests, parties, a lot of room for little ones to run around too.
The way she says parties is the worst. Parties!
Let's not discuss that right now, Buttercup. Anyway, I do think it would be a shame to let this mansion slip past us.
But you haven't even finished touring the house.
Well, we like what we've seen.
I'm making a job easier for her, am I not? No need for loans or long price negotiations. We can just sign a contract and close the deal. Really, you'd think the woman would be more happy about an easy sell. I know how these estate agents work, how long they had to wait, and how much they had to spend even just for a single sale. Why, she should be jumping for joy by now. Sure, the commission on the mansion is nothing to sneeze at, even if she has to split it with the Isabel girl.
Do you think we could have horses here?
Yes, those do sound nice, love.
That is literally just pandering to him. Just like, yeah, you can have your horses. This is almost like a role reversal. That usually it's like, in typical media, it's the man who's more like Hannah, just like, yeah, you can have your horses and whatever you want.
Anyway, if anyone else is interested in buying this property, I assure you that I'm able and willing to give a better offer.
Hi.
A vineyard would be nice. Or maybe
And we do reward our people quite generously, Rose.
You know.
If I were you, I would start on that paperwork.
Helicopter pad.
Helicopter pad. Look at him. Look at him. I pause. And there's a small moment of complete silence where Rose and I just stare incredulously at Luke. There's an unspoken understanding, a rule between the two of us that we have to put on an act. With our social standing where image matters, it is also important to avoid making enemies. To follow this rule is an easy feat for me. From youth, I have been the well-trained social butterfly, gracious and graceful, and they're basically the same word. Luke, on the other hand...
Wait, what, Luke? No, what? Whatever would we need a helipad for?
Well, he likes to play the fool sometimes, even if he is anything but. As he throws me a wry smile, I shake my head and beckon Rose over. This is to be our home, and there is nothing she or anyone else can do to change my mind. This is a place that speaks of power and importance and, at the same time, of safety and comfort. Perhaps we can have a family here. There is definitely no better gift than this, our special date. For our special date. Jesus Christ. Why, everything here is absolutely wonderful. Except for this ugly painting in the study. That's not that painting. And that's the... looks like a bad fake of an Edvard Munch painting.
Here's the deal. I'm willing to pay 10% higher than your listing price.
See? That's the painting in here. Is she seeing that in the mirror?
If anyone tries to outbid us, just add another 5%. I doubt anyone can, of course. Or, you know what? Just add 15% to the listing price, and we can sign all the paperwork now.
How much money do you have?
I guess, if that's what you want. That won't be any trouble. I don't have all the papers now. Didn't think this would be a quick sell. I'll have copies sent to you so you can look over them. And if you'd still like to finish the rest of the tour with Isabella's group, you're more than welcome to.
No, I think we're good here. We'd appreciate a private tour of the place a lot more, I think.
So you're not even willing to see the upstairs?
All right. Should I let Marianne in, then?
Marianne? Oh, right. She's been waiting outside the study this whole time, hasn't she? Need to have a little chat with her to move this little mansion project forward.
Please do.
The look of apprehension when the other woman enters the study. Yet, like a professional, I see the moment when she steels herself and masks her worry. Admirable.
We have this project then?
Of course. Will you be needing anything from us?
Having the floor plans would be a great start, just so that I can look at them beforehand. And if you could tell me when you're available for a meeting so that I can include it in my calendar?
Oh, is a meeting really all that necessary, Marianne?
Yes, she is a businesswoman.
I guess we can send Johans to help you out. You two can start by getting rid of this ugly painting.
Yeah. That's the mirror. A hush falls upon the room at my request.
What painting?
And lo and behold, the painting is gone. In its place, a mirror stands, which leaves me to look at my own confused expression.
Odd. Well, no matter.
Oh, runny nose. No matter.
Back to the topic at hand. Marianne, dear, we are simply far too busy to meet up.
You're not even going to bring up the fact that you saw a horrifying, bloodied woman inside of a mirror, which the other Okay. Free up the schedule.
I guess we can free up a day to meet with you.
Yeah.
I don't really need another maudlin Monday reading about Maury anyway. The book. What time shall we be
shit.
seeing each other? How does lunch sound?
Besides, my house is a higher priority over the book club. Why, we can hold the next meeting in this place. Surely the beauty and grandeur of it will inspire spirited and lively debates about whether modern-day writers can match up to the classics. I might as well clear up the rest of my week to handle whatever affairs buying this mansion requires of me. Any social activity can be put off until the Ermengarde, or rather, the Wrights Mansion great debut. I'll have my fill of great parties and gatherings, especially when I organise them myself.
That sounds good.
Bet it does.
Although, with a project of this scope, we might need most of the day to tackle your concerns. A more thorough inspection of the place is also preferable.
Breakfast then. It's a date.
It's really not.
Oh, why are you so embarrassed about her calling it a date?
All right. Monday. 10 o'clock sharp. We'll see you then.
Oh, she thinks you're cute. Actually, Marianne suggested that we meet at 9, but who's even awake at that unholy hour? I was lucky enough to wake up this morning before Luke went all the way to Cardiff. Say our goodbye, shake hands, and make it clear without outright saying that we are now the owner of this house. By the time we leave the mansion grounds, sunset is upon us, and there's that ridiculous leaf sound.
So, you really want to buy this place then? That's a bit of a big impulse buy, even coming from you.
But it's for our
Not that
anniversary.
I'm complaining.
Feel elation when I hear those words come from him. Not every day one is able to please someone like Luke. He gives away false flattery to sway those who starve for his attention and approval. But in the privacy of closed doors, he would often express his grievances. He neither censored himself in front of me nor spared me from his criticisms.
You have been saying the penthouse was getting a bit too small for you. Happy anniversary!
Happy anniversary!
Oh. That time of the year already?
Oh, really? Oh, you're such a good guy, Luke. You forgot about it last year, too. I understand that he's a busy man, but...
Is that why you want to buy it?
Yes. You don't like it?
I do. But I remember you used to talk about how you wanted to live next to the beach.
Botany Bay, Kent. I remember the sea water that stretched on for miles and miles as far as the eye can see. As a kid, I loved our beach trips, swimming all day as much as I could. I was a well-behaved child, and the only time I was ever truly difficult was when I refused to get out the waters, even when my fingers had gone all wrinkly. And even when they managed to pull me out the water, there was always sandcastles. The day before we married, I told Luke that I wanted a house on the beach and a dog, and a kid or two. One of those came true 7 years later.
That was a childish dream. Living next to the beach is so impractical if you really think about it.
I don't know. It's not a bad thought to see you in a bathing suit every day.
Maybe another time, love.
Sleazy!
We still have forever, don't we?
Yes, forever. He says nothing, only grabbing my hand and holding it tight as we spend the rest of our ride home in silence. I miss the sea. Sick and hovering over the loo at 3 in the morning, the picture I paint right now is hardly glamorous. A horrible fishy taste is left in my mouth as I throw up what I had for dinner, and I hate the acrid stench that fills the lavatory. The burning sensation at the back of my throat is no help whatsoever. I feel another wave of nausea come up when the door opens.
Hannah, what are you doing so early out of bed?
He's still in his suit.
I'm fine, love. I must have just eaten something bad.
That's all I managed to say before vomiting again into the porcelain throne. Lovely.
Just go back to bed, Luke. I'm going to clean up here.
I refuse to look at him. I don't want him to see me like this. The last time I've had a horrible morning retching into a toilet was during my college years, being the life of the party. Thoughtless and shameless, I had thrown away months of frivolous merriment and pointless hookups. I didn't even retain any of the connections I made from that time. Sure, they still know of me and I still know of them, and we still do business from time to time, but I've lost touch with anyone who I didn't see on a daily basis. Hardly have any of the friends that I had when I was still Hannah Evans. Teachers, fellow university students, drinking buddies, old conquests like Jack. Who's Jack?
No, don't touch me, sweetie. It's disgusting. I'm disgusting.
Luke sits down next to me on the toilet floor to hold my hair, even as I cough up more fish. He wipes the vomit from the corner of my mouth and just stares.
Do I need to fire someone? I don't feel sick.
Just feeling a bit under the weather, dear. It's been unbearably hot as of late, hasn't it? I do wish it would rain.
Are you sure it wasn't those sweets? I told you not to eat those sweets.
Maybe. Well, don't laugh.
Well, I can't help if you make that sort of face.
He starts chuckling and soon enough he is in a fit of laughter. That's still a creepy face. The scene happening next to a loo filled with sick just makes the whole thing bizarre, and it nearly makes me start giggling as well. Tried to stifle it though as I smack him on the shoulder.
I'm not making a face, Luke. Stop laughing. Shut up.
When he would not stop laughing, I let go as laughter bubbles from my own throat. I forget whatever ill feeling plagues me. We are just husband and wife laughing together at a funny face, the little things in life. I let myself go because I know at these moments will not last forever. But if I just know the terrible things that are to come for us, I would have wished. I just know the terrible things that were to come for us. Are these episodes kind of like recalling the past? That's a very strange term to use. I'd have wished with everything I have there and then that the laughter had stayed. The end of that day.
Hiya! Come on now!
Place is bustling with movers carrying furnishings here and there, along with several trunks of personal belongings taken from our penthouse. Luke watches them like a hawk, making sure nothing is handled carelessly or gets stolen.
Careful now! I know your pictures are framed by cheap plastic, but those are framed by African Blackwood and are one-of-a-kind commissioned paintings. Each one is easily worth a lifetime of what you lot make.
Luke, do the dishwashers go into the kitchen or the butler's pantry?
Pantry, Buttercup. Careful, that's Emma. No, you there, put that down. You do not manhandle a Napoleon Abueva.
Abueva? What is an Abueva? I can see the exasperation. I have to send the foreman an apologetic glance. Even Johannes rolled his eyes as he goes by. Considering Luke is always like this during a project, Johannes and I have just gotten used to it. Or Marianne, on the other hand, looks a bit stressed at seeing the gigantic mess before quickly going back to work. Everything just has to be perfect, exactly the way he wants it. One little thing out of place, one little thing that doesn't fit the image he clearly constructed in his head, Luke gets bent out of shape.
Sweetie, why don't we go and sort your suits upstairs? Let Johannes and Marianne and the foreman deal with the rest of the work.
We have this, Mrs. Wright.
Yes, please do go before a blood vessel bursts. Bloodstains are so troublesome to clean.
I love Johans. Taking him by the hand, I lead him upstairs into our bedroom. Still got the paintings of the other people in. Ugh. No. First place, this place has been arranged first so that we can get some rest no matter what the state of the rest of the mansion is in. I'm definitely glad I can just lay down on a soft, comfy bed after what has been a busy morning. Watching Luke act like his life depending on getting this move done is tiring all on its own. And to think I have a whole day of this ahead of me. Feel the bed dip as beside me Luke sits down with a sigh.
Well, I can't wait for this to be over.
I don't know. It's fun seeing you all fired up. Here at home and not at work, you know.
You know I can't always be home, Hannah. I have a company to run, unless you've forgotten.
I haven't forgotten. You're the one who insists on being there to make sure each and every little thing is under control. I just really miss you sometimes, and I wish you were at home more often. Why, if you're not careful, I might go a bit loopy and I'll start bringing cats home. And soon enough, one day you'll find yourself going home to a farm just filled with felines that follow you everywhere.
Oh, don't bluff. The things would shred up your precious furniture. Besides, you don't even like cats.
True. Dogs are infinitely superior, of course.
But what about the wet dog smell? The mess? I'm not cleaning up after a mutt, no matter how cute.
Well, you have butlers. Like you'd ever have to clean it up anyway.
If you think about it, a cat would be better.
We laugh. It's not always that we can just lie down and talk about these sorts of things. To joke around as if we're teenagers again, with very little problems in the way of responsibilities and roles. Here's genuine, honest to goodness laugh is a rarity. This is just the second time as of late, and I can only see it as signs of good things to come.
All good points. I guess we could just have kids. That is, if you prefer dealing with soiled nappies and sick as opposed to dead birds, mice, and litter boxes. I've already told Marianne about turning the second bedroom into a children's room.
I guess sometimes I don't know when I'm crossing a line. I didn't say that I'm a good comedian, did I?
Not this again.
What? I wasn't being serious.
It's not something you take the piss out of. Having a kid is a big responsibility, Hannah. We've talked about this, haven't we? I'm not ready to be a parent. I'd probably end up killing the little brat by the week's end.
What should I say? No, you'll be a great father.
He likes you well enough.
And it went up again. The mention of our little goddaughter places a conflicted look on his face. Sometimes it is cute when he denies having a soft spot for the little girl. But then, sometimes it's sad and it makes me wonder what happened to him to make him think so poorly of himself in this regard.
Yes, well, it's Kylie. The tyke likes everybody and, on the off chance she doesn't, likes them well enough as long as they buy her sweets. And sure, that kid is great, but if I get tired of her, I can ship her back to her father at the end of the day.
It's exactly my outlook on kids. It's like, yeah, sometimes they can be alright, but when they're not mine, you can just get sick of them and push them away. Fine.
Having kids of our own will be a whole different monster entirely.
I've never heard him talk about his father in anything but a business context. Recall Damien Wright kept hearing about him from my own father, or even before I met Luke. The business would praise him for running a tight ship, and until one mistake led to a great loss for the enterprise. It was then that the news of Luke Wright, prodigy son and successor to the old man, started to show up. He aided in its recovery and growth up until the Great Recession. I'm getting a bit off track. Regardless, I've never heard him talk about his father like one would talk about family.
I think you'll be a great father.
There is a smile, no matter how half-hearted it may be. I do really think that. He might not be a good, honest man, and part of me knows that. Oh, I tried to silence it. Then why the fuck are you with him? I know Luke well enough that he'd be a better father than either Damien Wright or Henry Evans. I love my father. We never had the time.
If it is any consolation, I think you'd be a decent mother.
On the other hand, never heard of his mother. Silence settles, both comfortable and uncomfortable. There is a familiarity in each other's company, despite the awkwardness that has transpired. Defenses are masked down. Without anybody else looking, we are both together and alone in this quiet. But a crash from downstairs startles us both out of our reverie. Luke lets out a heavy sigh before coming up to his feet and straightening his jacket.
I'll have to attend to that then.
Be good, darling. And watch out for your blood pressure.
He gives me a kiss on the cheek before leaving, while I lay there in a daze. Really, is that what does it for you? Just one kiss on the cheek? Alone, as per usual. I really should be used to it by now. I can feel the minutes tick by with me just laying there, feeling miserable and full of self-pity. I've rolled over to lie on my stomach at this point, when my face is buried in the pillows, when there is a knock at the door. Grumbling at them to go away doesn't work as the voice comes from the other side.
Madam, the photographer from Luxury Living is here.
Wait, today? Oh yes. People have caught wind of our new mansion the very moment we left the open house. Luke had boasted he could acquire the property in no time, and allowed a photo shoot for an interior design magazine to be scheduled today. Well, there were complications and it took longer than it usually does for us.
In a minute, Hansi.
Hansi.
Johannes, if you could at least make it through the end.
Tell them I'll be right down, Hansi.
Mansion ground. Hansi. Johannes. Hansi. The mansion grounds has been one of the first things to be fixed up aside from the bedroom. Though it's still a work in progress, it had a promising start. I can already see the flower patches. Luke's favoured daffodils stand out easily, having been transplanted from the pots that used to litter the rooftop of our penthouse. Why, if the moving crew thought that Luke was being hard on them, they clearly didn't see the landscaper on his way out. The man looked like he was ready to faint, and Luke seemed ready to kill him by the end of their discussion. It is in the gardens that I see him standing there near the flowers in quiet admiration. It's hard to miss the hulk of a man that clearly did not belong, and the big backpack and suitcase he has with him makes him look much larger. It's a peculiar sight seeing someone who looks like he does... Seeing someone who looks like he does handling little delicate things with such care. He looks up from the gardens and does a double take before a friendly face replaces his serene expression.
Miss Wright, yeah? Hi, Zachary Steele here from Luxury Living, ma'am. Hope you weren't waiting too long. But it looks like you're still moving in, huh? Thought for a second there my calendar was wrong and I came here too early.
The one and only. Welcome to Maison de Wright. And yes, we've been in the process of moving in as we were delayed, but it won't be a problem. They're just adding a few things here and there, and you should still be able to do your work. Where's the rest of your crew then, Mr. Steele?
Mr. Steele?
Zach is fine, please. Mr. Steele makes me feel like I'm a mascot for a cleaning product. Anyway, I'll be your one-man crew for today. Don't worry, been doing this gig for a while now.
One sec. Throat's getting a little bit worn out already. I do admire the people who literally play these sorts of games day in, day out, because it's a very strong thing on the throat.
You must be quite the veteran to handle this on your own. We've had a full crew coming into our penthouse the last time we were covered in your magazine.
Veteran? Oh, your words are too kind, Miss Wright.
Hannah!
Hannah!
If I get to call you Zach, you have my permission to call me Hannah.
Alrighty then. Anyway, I'm no veteran, but I know my camera well enough to make sure this is a good shoot. You can trust me on that, Miss Wright. Hannah.
Zachary proves quickly enough that I can, in fact, trust him. The skills of the camera and experience in the industry, at the very least. He is kind and courteous, listening and following as I lead him around the house. Really nice fellow, and he treats our household staff well whenever he crosses paths with them. I answer his questions to the best of my ability, and he is patient enough to answer mine when I get curious enough. For one, I asked what the bags are for. They are quite the magician's toolkit. Inside, he had procured several items to embellish the interior with. Bowls of fruit, lemons, trays with pepper mills, stacks of cookbooks, cutting boards, and glass canisters filled with colourful nuts and grains are brought in for the kitchen setting. In the bathroom, there are white towels, seashells, and decorative soaps. There are other things as well, too numerous to count, all in that large backpack and suitcase.
Tricks of the trade. Softens up a room, makes a place feel more homey, and fills it up with texture. But you guys probably have better stuff I can use for this.
No lights? Don't tell me all of these are just props.
Props?
Well, I've got my tripod here. For things like these, natural light is best. I'll just have to set the shutter speed to a real slow setting, and as long as nobody steps into the shot, it'll look great.
Oh, it better.
We go through the rooms one at a time, although we first tackle the ones that the movers have no business in anymore. Ballroom needs a little preparation with its grand design, although there is some trouble at first with the wide open space and the pictures being backlit. It is in the kitchen that Zachary props come in handy, considering how Johannes keeps the place so neat and sterile. One can practically eat off the floor. We carry on touring the rest of the house, taking pictures where we can, with no exceptions to the rooms, which we have yet to gain any purpose or design. Too bad I can't take a sneak peek at his photos yet. Funnily enough, he's using a traditional camera. I didn't even know film still existed. With the way he speaks, however, I can see that he knows enough about his craft that I'm not too worried about botched photographs. I imagine photography must be cathartic for him, judging by how at ease he looks while taking pictures. There are small snippets of conversation in between the clicking of the camera. He even goes as far to talk about the terminologies like shutter speeds and aperture when I ask about the technical aspects. I can't quite see the picture as it is made, much like when I watch artists paint on their canvas, but just watching someone passionately practicing their craft such as this is exciting in its own way. Going through the many rooms have been quite the exercise for both of us. Like that, he has been so nice, and I find myself putting on my best smile and squeezing those boobs together. But as it were, taking pictures in the foyer, that everything comes to a standstill for a moment. Just a moment. And have I not been paying attention, I would not have noticed. It is merely a split second where Zachary's rhythm is put to a halt. Hi? His finger doesn't move to release the shutter. Yet he does not pull the camera away from his face, gaze still firmly fixed through the viewfinder. His hands shake and there is a light sheen of sweat on his forehead.
Zachary?
No response.
Zach? Is something the matter?
Can you not feel this ghoulish fucking creature touching you? Lowering his camera, he blinks and stares at something behind me before shaking his head. Turning around, though, I see nothing that could have gotten his attention.
Oh no, there's nothing wrong. I just remembered something I saw. Let's get back to the pictures.
There.
Can you move a bit more to the left, yeah?
I struggle to respond this time. There is a sudden weight on my back and an indescribable tightness around my throat. There's a ghoul woman choking you out! Everything stops. And everything starts again. I managed to choke out.
If you're sure.
I don't know what just happened. It was probably just a dizzy spell. I'm fine. He said he's fine. We continue at the same pace as before, although there is an unspoken agreement that we will not talk about what happened.
So, is this a full-time job for you then?
Nah, I just freelance mostly, for magazines, newspapers, and events. So you can't really call it a full-time job. It's fun and it puts food on the table, but it's not what I really want to do. At least, not all the time.
What is it that you want to do then?
Maybe I've been a bit out of line sticking my nose into other people's business, but I can't help but ask. I regret doing so, as I see his shoulders slump as the easygoing air he has fades away. He looks torn over whether he wants to talk about it or not.
Films. Documentaries mostly. But cinematography is a lot more difficult than photography, right? I was working on this thing, actually.
What thing?
Well, it wasn't really a big thing. People didn't like Blue Fonzie very much.
People don't like a film about colors. I suppose they would have liked Blue Bibby a lot more.
Very funny.
So, Grand Director, do you want to tell me what Blue Fonzie is all about?
He hesitates, but when I refuse to budge on the matter, he gives in and spills it all out. Blue Fonzie, the Britanniques. Dark blue, the darkest hour of the Black British. Speaks with passion of one who has gone through the very matter he's concerned with. There is conviction, knowledge, and experience in his speech. Why, I would have told him that he's an amazing speaker if I wasn't so engrossed listening. Prejudice and discrimination in schools and in the workplace. Lesser chances for opportunity and the higher chances for being treated like a criminal. Spoke of blacks and people of colour in general still being treated like second-class citizens. All because of the colour of their skin. It's just positively riveting. And sad. It comes to a point wherein he soon loses steam. He looks abashed, realising what he had just done.
Sorry, I just got so carried away and...
It's fine. It is really so fascinating to watch people talk about their passion after all.
See, Hannah's actually a nice person.
You should see how your eyes light up when you speak so fiercely.
And like she said earlier on, most of the stuff what she does around other people is just an act.
You do have very beautiful eyes.
Oh.
Uh-huh. Thanks, I guess.
I wanted to say that I understand where he's coming from, but I really don't, do I? I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, and I've lived a charmed life. It hasn't been perfect, but the difficulties I've been through pales in comparison to what others experience on a daily basis. I certainly do not know how I would have fared were it any different. Would I still have met Luke, and would he still have loved me if I was any lesser?
What was your home like? These things you talk about. It sounds like you've... Well, I don't mean to pry, I mean.
Live with my older sister and my grandparents. We had a shop selling all sorts of things below our flat.
Because he's American.
And well, I was one of the few non-white, non-British students in class. I didn't get pushed around or anything straight up. Even then, I was one of the biggest kids around.
I didn't think his accent belonged here.
But a pencil and notebook would go missing, you know?
Oh, that I knew. Children could be so cruel at times. Of course, it may be a slightly different story when you have personal guards and the stolen item is not a pencil, but an expensive heirloom.
So what about you? How you liking your new house? It's pretty impressive.
It's nice, I suppose.
Already having buyer's remorse.
You suppose? Not big enough?
What? No, oh, don't be a bully. It's just that...
I understand if you don't want to talk about it.
I was a little girl all dolled up and treated like fragile porcelain, with nursemaids waiting on me hand and foot. All the material possessions anyone could ever want, I could ask for on a whim, and it would be handed to me just like that. I barely saw my parents, just to kiss goodbye in the morning before they went off to who knows where they were needed to next. I saw them more often on the telly or in the papers than I ever did in person.
I remember my old house. It was a lot like this one. Big walls and big halls, but nobody in it. Not really.
So this is probably stemming from the whole her wanting Luke to stay at home more often, but...
It makes you think how alone you are.
Pensive mood overcomes us. There's a moment where neither of us are sure how to go on from there. Things have gotten a bit too personal. Yeah, it isn't wholly uncomfortable, like as if we'd been friends before.
Well, that's normal, ain't it? You just moved here.
1 second. Property? No, not properties. Filters. Noise gate. Close. There we go. That feels better.
You'll make home out of it yet.
He certainly makes it easy to believe. My childhood house is indeed a lot like this one. Just as large and extravagant. And just as empty. I hope he's right.
So, Monsieur le Photographe, you've covered the one and only Ermengarde Mansion. What's next on the agenda?
The interview?
Boring. It's an interior design and housing magazine.
Housing.
And they want to know what Miss Wright has to say about her interior design and house.
Honor Wright thinks she bought a magnificent house that she can certainly brag about. Blah, blah. Boring. You know what they should print more of? I watched an interesting documentary the other day. Bleu Foncé, the darkest hours of the Black British.
They're
I
flirting.
recommend you watch it.
They're clearly flirting.
Those are the things that people should know about. What do they care if I use a purple or green bowl of fruit in my kitchen?
People, right?
Oui. People are shite. What do you think? Do I look good with this angle?
Strike a pose while he's busy looking taken aback for a moment, probably not expecting me to just go and say such crass word. But he recovers, and after a few snapping shots, he grins.
Vous êtes belle. You want copies of these ones?
Yes, please. So, the big boy knows French.
Oh, look at her. She's
You
definitely
must have
flirting with
wooed a
him.
few ladies. Unless you're into gents. Either way, French is, after all, the language of romance.
Though I don't know about quoting fancy poetry, but I've made lunch for a girl before, and they did like that fancy French cuisine.
Can you cook your best?
Oh, that's what she... Hold on. Let's have a look. Not relationships. It's under this. Profiles. She's asking a random stranger who she's clearly flirting with her husband in the house about her favorite dish.
I can cook just about anything as long as I know the recipe.
C'est magnifique.
It's been too long since I've had a nice proper chat with a good friend. No, Lee's certainly not a good friend. And although we've just met, Zachary is the sort who can probably befriend anyone. He's just a comfortable person to be around. A bit too comfortable. Yes, because you're flirting with your husband in the house. The photo shoot went by a breeze. And somewhere along the way, as we talk and laugh, I find myself getting a bit too close without realising. He'll give me this strange look until I back off, and he'll go back to asking questions after I agree to do his little interview. It's just odd. Well, no. Maybe being friendly isn't that odd. It's how I am. Zachary is the one that's being odd. Why anyone else would absolutely welcome the extra attention I give them. On the other hand, he looks almost flustered about it. He should be used to different personalities by now, having to deal with various people when he works. And if not, he needs to start. Perhaps nobody has shown him the attention of this kind. But he's a big boy, he should be able to handle me. Oh, I bet he could. And it was, all it is a friendly touch here, pretty smile there, gentle swing of the hips as I move around. You are literally flirting with him. Zachary grew more and more red every time he noticed. Am I being mean as I find enjoyment in seeing him unravel? Perhaps. This went on during the interview and beyond that. There's nothing wrong with what we're doing, right? Zach and I are just having a playful, friendly chat while enjoying the outside view. At least, that's how I see it.
I'm sorry, but I'm really getting distracted.
Oh, I bet you are, Zachary.
Could you maybe stop doing that?
Stop? Continue teasing. This is who I am, and I'm not going to tone myself down for anybody. I have no obligation to do so. At any rate, he's rather cute, and it's a bit fun seeing him squirm. It's the worst that can happen. I doubt I'll have anything bad considering how much of a gentleman he is.
Stop doing what, Zach, sweetie?
Touching my arm and looking at me like that.
Oh! Oops. I pause, give him a baffled look. There is certainly the first time a man has ever complained to me about
I'm not
being too
doing
friendly.
anything wrong. Come on now, don't be like that. It's just a bit of fun.
Bit of harmless fun.
I'm sorry. It's just really uncomfortable and I don't think either of us want Mr. Right to see us and think there's any funny business. I'm sorry. Look, we're finished with the interview already, aren't we?